Hi guys, isn't it strange how one of the arguments for Brexit was that Britain needed to leave the European Union in order to take back control of its borders and its immigration policy? Now, the same people who lied about that are telling another story about how the UK needs to leave the European Convention on Human Rights in order to stop the boats and take back control of borders and immigration. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. One of the organisations which is calling for Britain to take back control is Migration Watch UK. Can you guess the location of their headquarters? Yes, 55 Tufton Street. If you don't believe me, I'll leave a link to their contact page. Here Mike Jones from the organisation called the European Court which enforces the convention undemocratic, and he believes the British people can be convinced to throw away protections to their own rights in order to punish asylum seekers. Have a listen to this.
Yes, I mean, I'm all for leaving the European Court of Human Rights, and it's not just the opinion of Migration Watch. Lord Sumption and Professor Richard Eakins of Oxford University have made this argument in public. The ECHR is an undemocratic institution. It's opaque. It appoints judges from authoritarian regimes with poor legal traditions.
Okay, a few things to say about this. The Supreme Court, the High Court, or the Supreme Court is undemocratic. You don't have a problem with that. You don't have a problem with the UK Supreme Court being undemocratic, but you have a problem with the European Court of Human Rights being undemocratic. What do you mean by undemocratic? We generally don't vote for judges. They're appointed. In the case of the European Court of Human Rights, they're appointed by member states of the European Council, the Council of Europe. So Britain is a member of the Council of Europe. It appoints a judge to the European Court of Human Rights. Now, he talked here about regimes. Well, which regimes is he talking about? Because if you're talking about Russia, Russia is no longer a member of the Council of Europe. Unless he's talking about Turkey, but once again, this is in the minority. The vast majority of members of the Council of Europe who appoint judges to the European Court of Human Rights are democratic. Unless he's talking about Britain as well.
And it's reinterpreted the European Convention on Human Rights. I mean, the convention is now a dynamic document, and this is due to the rulings of the ECHR. They've created this whole body of immigration and asylum law, which is completely inconsistent with the principles of the original document. So I think, a policy of leaving the court would resonate with the British public.
So here we have the Tufton Street preachers trying to convince people that we need to leave the European Convention. You don't leave the European Convention on Human Rights, you leave the Council of Europe. But you stop implementing the European Convention on Human Rights in order to stop the boats and to punish asylum seekers. So we need to, and these are protections also for British people. We saw it with Hillsborough, we saw it with other high-profile cases. The British people couldn't get the justice they deserved in the UK judicial system, so they went to the European Court of Human Rights and they won cases. Not all cases were won, but many cases were. And human rights were upheld. These people want to have a referendum, and I've heard others like Nigel Farage and other members of the Conservative Party who have been demanding a referendum on whether the UK should remain part of the Council of Europe. They won't say the Council of Europe, they'll say the European Convention on Human Rights. But that's what we're talking about, joining Russia outside protections for human rights. When Russia left or was kicked out, one of the first things it did was reinstate the death penalty. So is this what Britain wants to be? Is this what the British people want? I don't believe that's the case. The far right, yes. The Tufton Street people, yes. But the British people, no. This is about undermining protections for British people in order to convince them that it's necessary to undermine rights for asylum seekers and refugees. It's a disgrace. And once again, it comes back to the same argument. People were told we need to leave the European Union in order to take back control that Britain already had. But here they are once again, the same people saying, no, actually Brexit didn't succeed. We need to go another step. We need to take away our own rights in order to stop other people from having any rights at all. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.